Alright, developer, when XRP God Candle finally arrives from this area. Now, what if months of silent trading, boring sideways movement, and endless waiting are actually the build-up to the single largest price move in XRP's history? Imagine waking up, checking the charts, and seeing a single massive green bar that wipes out 18 months of frustration in less than 7 days. While most casual traders are walking away because the price feels stuck, a massive structural setup is taking shape right beneath our eyes. In this video, we are taking a deep dive into the latest chart analysis shared on X by analyst Bird to see why the long-awaited XRP God Candle might be much closer than the market expects. Now, what is the God Candle setup and why is analyst Bird watching it? To understand why the crypto community is paying attention right now, we have to talk about what analyst Bird right here recently pointed out here on X. XRP has been trading inside a tight range, stuck beneath a persistent descending resistance line that has capped every rally since the peak. For over 18 months, price action has been squeezed into a narrow corridor near the $1.09 mark. Bird emphasized that when XRP finally breaks free from this specific accumulation area, it won't be a slow, boring crawl back toward its all-time high of $3.65. Instead, the analyst expects a single massive God Candle to trigger a rapid upward explosion that could right price the asset in a matter of days and push it all the way toward the $3.80 price target right here. Now here's my opinion. I find this setup incredibly compelling. Most retail traders make the mistake of looking for momentum while a coin is already pumping 50% or 100% in a day. But real wealth in crypto is built by spotting structural compression before the volatility expansion occurs. When an asset spends 18 months trading inside a tight range beneath a major trend line, the liquidity building up on both sides of that line is massive. I believe that once $1.09 is decisively broken, FOMO, or fear of missing out, will combine with short liquidations to create the exact fast-moving candle Bird is describing right here. Now, why does the descending resistance line hold the key to XRP's future? If we look closely at this daily chart, the single defining feature governing XRP's price since its previous all-time high right here at $3.65 is this descending trend line right here. Every time XRP attempted to rally over the past year, it bumped its head against this falling line of resistance and was rejected back down. However, something fundamental has changed in recent weeks. XRP is currently sitting at $1.09. The gap, it is currently sitting at $1.09 right at the tail end of this trend line inside what Bird highlighted here on his chart with the green accumulation box. All right. Because the trend line slopes downward while XRP holds firm around the price of $1.09, the gap between the support and resistance has shrunk to almost zero. So think of it like a pressure cooker sealed tight with the heat turned all the way up. The space inside the cooker decreases. The internal pressure doesn't disappear. It intensifies exponentially. When the pressure valve finally gives way, the release isn't subtle. It's immediate and violent. That is exactly what is happening to XRP's price structure right now. Now, here is my opinion. I view this descending trend line right here not as a barrier, but as a countdown clock. Every single day that XRP holds $1.09 while the resistance line descends lower, the bears lose ground. In technical market structures, the more times a resistance level is tested, the weaker it becomes. When XRP finally penetrates this trend line, there won't be much overhead resistance left to stop it from retesting $3.65 and pushing straight to $3.80. Now, how can 18 months of consolidation be erased in just 1 week? One of the most striking statements from analyst Bird's post is one God Candle within 1 week. So let's just highlight that part. Right? One God Candle within 1 week, everything changes. For traders who have been sitting through 18 long months of sideways grinding, the idea of erasing a year and a half of price action in 7 days might sound impossible. But in cryptocurrency, historic precedence proves that extreme price compression leads to extreme speed. When an asset spends 18 months in a tight range, market participants become complacent. Sellers exhaust themselves. Retail investors lose interest, and market makers accumulate quietly in the background. Once the breakout begins, there is virtually no sell-side liquidity left on the order books between $1.09 and previous major highs. This creates a vacuum effect. When buying pressure enters an order book devoid of sell orders, the price jump per dollar invested becomes astronomical. Instead of stepping up side by side, the price leaps over whole dollar levels in single 4-hour candles. Now, here's my opinion. Speed is the ultimate signature of institutional repricing. When big capital decides an asset is undervalued, they don't buy slowly over 6 months. They clear the order books rapidly before the broader market realizes what happened. If you are waiting for confirmation after the God Candle starts printing, you will likely end up buying at $2.50 or $3 instead of accumulating near the $1.09 support level. Now, what happens if XRP clears resistance and hits $3.80? Let's go back to the chart. Analyst Bird's chart right here doesn't just predict a small pop above the trend line. It features a massive upward arrow right here, a green large arrow right here, pointing directly to $3.80. That represents a move of nearly 250% from the current price area of $1.09. Clearing $3.65, XRP's historic all-time high, is a massive psychological milestone. Once an asset breaks its previous all-time high, it enters what traders call price discovery. In price discovery, there are no historical resistance levels left above the market. Sellers from previous cycles no longer exist, and every holder is in profit. That is why $3.80 isn't just an arbitrary number. It represents the initial target once XRP shatters its historical ceiling. Now, here's my opinion. Reaching $3.80 would completely alter the narrative surrounding XRP. For years, critics have claimed that XRP moves too slowly compared to newer layer 1 networks. A rapid surge to $3.80 in a single week would silence the doubters and triggers a massive wave of mainstream financial media coverage. The media storm itself could fuel the next leg of the bull run beyond $3.80. And finally, here's our overall conclusion. When you step back and evaluate the technical picture or chart shared by analyst Bird right here, the message is crystal clear. XRP's prolonged consolidation at $1.09 is not a sign of weakness, but a setup for hyper volatility. The descending trend line that has kept price cup for 18 months has squeezed XRP into an extremely narrow trading range. So, I believe we are approaching a critical decision point. While no analyst can give an exact date or guarantee the future, the structural setup indicates that when the breakout occurs, it will happen far faster than most participants are prepared for. A single God candle can rewrite 18 months of history in 7 days, taking XRP from $1.09 past $3.65 and into new territory at $3.80. So stay disciplined, monitor that $1.09 price zone, and keep your eyes fixed on the descending trend line. And this finally ends our video. Thank you very much for watching, and see you on the next one. Or you might just as well check this next recommended video right here.